Let me come back to Clara, and then Kelly, let me come back to you, because you anticipated what I was going to ask Clara. So you are doing this on the ground. You are helping invest in it. What's the broader theory of transformative change? How does this aggregate? Does it aggregate by demonstrating that there's a model of wealth building and job creation that is very different from the dominant model? Does it aggregate by leading to a set of demands to change policies that make programs like this be one-offs rather than the norm? Does it aggregate by building political power? Does it aggregate by showing that this actually is a better way and getting more people both to invest in it and to do it on the ground? Have you and your colleagues spent endless hours debating that?
We have spent endless hours talking about just that. And of course, you know, as you know, and I've said before, we're small compared to the real task at hand. The first answer is that we are not choosing kind of the time-tried approaches, although we think influence is hugely important and we think policy is hugely important. Kind of took a look at Washington and said, this is an urgent situation. What can we do that is going to actually change the DNA? That would be, there are, in many cases, changing just the way things are measured can make a big change in the world. So, you know, I like to say accounting is destiny, even though I don't know how I ended up being a fan of accounting or actually being on a SASB committee, but I am. And one of the things we've financed and are part of a capital campaign to scale, because we see our role as capital investor, not revenue provider, which is a very different thing, is that we've financed an organization called the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board at SASB. And the idea is, and we think we cannot do this without saying, how do we change the 100%? We can't just be the 99% wanting to change the 1%. We need to change the 100%, and it's in everybody's interest to change. Public companies are you know, we've been talking about them again and again, and there are not many of them in the room. There's a Citibanker, I think, somewhere here that I heard from. But at any rate, so SASB, what SASB does is it creates data standards. And this is going to be a real eye closer, but I think it is really important. It creates data standards for public company reporting on their 10Ks, for reporting as material risk factors that have traditionally been looked at as externalities. That is, you know, BP oil spill in Gulf of Mexico, externality. You know, the derivatives and their risks, externality. That's not, you know, that somehow has managed to be not reportable as an SEC, as a risk condition by public companies. So what now they do is they report these, but they're not standardized data reporting. So they might get letters from grandma in some cases, they might provide real data in other cases, but across the board they're kind of, they're not comparable. And because they're not comparable, we can't say to ourselves, let's look at all the banks across the board and learn what we can about the risk of their enterprise to society, about what they're doing from the point of view of employment and labor practices and human capital development. And a whole group of other governance, are they paying a lot in lobbying fees? Are they? Let's try to start learning from the nature of these enterprises how we can change the way we measure success in the economy and make that real. Right now, what we have is a lot of ratings and a lot of kind of herky-jerky data, but we don't have anything that is real for them and that rewards the good players, or at least allows us to reward the good players, and vice versa.